The Galactic Council chamber floated above a dying star, bathed in slow red light. The star's surface cracked and folded in on itself, throwing waves of heat and radiation against the station's shields. To the Council, it was a reminder of power. Even stars died under their watch. The chamber was full. Hundreds of representatives sat in rising rings, each species wrapped in silk, metal, light, or living armor. This was the highest authority in known space. Wars began here. Civilizations ended here. Today was meant to be simple. The final session of the Trifront conflict. A council herald drifted forward, its voice amplified through thought and sound at once. The vote will confirm council authority across all remaining unaligned regions, it announced. All resistance has been neutralized. A ripple of satisfaction moved through the chamber. Some delegates tapped claws against armrests. Others let their frills glow brighter. Victory always felt the same, clean, distant, and deserved. One delegate, old and thin, leaned toward another. At last, it said, "No more pockets of refusal. None that matter," the other replied. A minor archivist AI spoke next, projecting a list of closed files. Hundreds of species names faded to gray. Conquered. Integrated. Silenced. One name appeared briefly at the bottom. Humanity. The file blinked once, then vanished. No one noticed. The Council Prime raised a limb for silence. "Let the record show," it said, "that the galaxy is finally stable." That was when the chamber lights flickered. At first, it was dismissed as background radiation from the star. Then the sensors chimed. Soft. Confused. A tactical officer turned from its console. "Council Prime, we are detecting a mass entering restricted space." Several delegates laughed. "Debris?" someone asked. "Another relic drifting out of the dark?" said another. The officer hesitated. "No known propulsion signature. No decay pattern. It's intact." A large projection appeared over the chamber. Just a shadow at first. Massive. Silent. The shadow grew. It blotted out the star. Laughter died. The object was not tumbling. It was not damaged. It moved with purpose, slow and deliberate, like something that did not fear time. Scanners screamed now. Gravity readings spiked. The station's stabilizers struggled to compensate. The Council Prime leaned forward. "Identify the object." The officer's voice tightened. "We can't. Its surface reflects most scans. The structure is dense beyond prediction." The shadow slid closer. Details emerged. Armor plates layered like continental shields. Hard angles built for war, not beauty. No glowing banners. No decorative lights. Only faint running marks along the hull, like scars that had healed long ago. A battleship. One ship. The chamber grew quiet enough to hear the distant hum of the station's failing systems. "Raise shields," someone ordered. "They're already up," another replied. "They're bending. Not breaking. Bending." The ship had not fired. Had not locked weapons. Had not done anything at all. And yet the council felt small. An elder delegate spoke from the upper ring, its voice shaking despite its age. "That design," it said slowly. "It is not known." The archivist AI pulsed, running emergency cross-checks. Ancient records. Lost conflicts. Abandoned regions. Then it froze. "Council Prime," the AI said. "I am accessing sealed data." "Who authorized?" The projection shifted. A symbol appeared on the ship's hull. Faded. Simple. A circle broken by 3 lines. The elder inhaled sharply. "No," it whispered. "That is not possible." "What is it?" demanded the Council Prime. The elder did not answer right away. Its gaze was fixed on the image, as if staring into a memory it had hoped never to see again. "That mark," it finally said, "belongs to a species listed as non-threatening. A species that refused council guidance. A species that vanished." Murmurs spread like static. "That file was closed centuries ago," someone said. "Yes," the elder replied. "Closed. Not destroyed." The ship stopped moving. Directly above the chamber. The dying star's light vanished completely now, blocked by the massive hull. The council chamber was left in shadow. Then every display lit up at once. An incoming transmission. No encryption. No demands. No warning tones. Just a single open channel. The Council Prime hesitated. Pride battled instinct. Then it gestured sharply. "Open it." The chamber filled with silence. Not empty silence. Heavy silence. A voice came through. "Calm. Humans. This is a Terran observer vessel." The words meant nothing to most of the council. The elder closed its eyes. The voice continued. We detected a session in progress. A vote concerning galactic authority. No threats. No anger. Just a fact. The council prime straightened. This space is restricted. You are in violation of. We know, the voice replied. A pause. Then, softly. We are here to observe the verdict you are about to pass. The chamber erupted. How many ships do you have? Someone shouted. What do you want? Demanded another. Weapons officers screamed warnings as targeting systems failed to lock. Every attempt slid off the battleship like rain. The human voice did not rise. One, it said. The elder stood, ignoring protocol. You left, it said. You abandoned the council. No, the voice corrected. We refused it. Silence fell again. The ship did nothing. And that was worse than an attack. The council realized, in that moment, that this visitor was not reacting to them. It had come because of them. The battleship waited. Above a dying star. Above the rulers of the galaxy. Watching. And somewhere deep in forgotten records, a truth began to surface. Humanity has not been weak. I had to be patient. The council chamber did not recover quickly. Voices overlapped. Orders contradicted each other. Military delegates shouted for immediate retaliation, while civilian representatives demanded negotiations they did not understand. The presence above them did not move, did not threaten, did not blink. It simply existed. That alone unbalanced everything. The council prime struck the command dais with a hardened limb. Silence. The chamber quieted, but the fear remained. It clung to every breath. The massive projection of the human battleship stayed fixed above the chamber, dark and patient. The dying star behind it continued to collapse, its red light bleeding around the ship's edges like a warning. The Council Prime turned to the Archivist AI. Pull all data on the Terran observer vessel. Now, the AI hesitated. That alone sent another wave of unease through the chamber. Access level exceeds Council Prime authority, the AI said. Files are sealed under pre-expansion protocols. Several delegates reacted at once. Pre-expansion. That was before unified law. Nothing predates council authority. The elder from the upper ring spoke again, quieter this time, but every word carried weight. Some things were sealed because they embarrassed us. The AI pulsed again, as if weighing a decision it had not been programmed to make. Emergency conditions are acknowledged, it said at last. Unsealing restricted historical archives. The lights dimmed. The air in the chamber grew cold. Images appeared, fragmented, distorted, old. A younger galaxy. Council fleets burning through unaligned systems. Worlds forced into compliance. Species labeled with sterile terms. Manageable, unstable, expendable. And then another label appeared. Humanity, category, non-threatening. Laughter rippled weakly through the chamber. That is clearly outdated, someone muttered. The AI continued. Humanity first encountered council envoys during the early expansion era, it said. They were offered protection, technological uplift, and political integration. The projection shifted. A blue world appeared. Oceans. Clouds. A small yellow star. Humans declined, the AI said. They requested time. Independent development. Observation-only contact. A delegate scoffed. They refused help? Yes, the AI replied. They cited ethical concerns. The image changed again. Council logs. Diplomatic frustration. Strategic assessments. Primitive weaponry. Short lifespans. High internal conflict. Unstable but creative. Then, a final note. Recommendation. Containment through neglect. The chamber went still. The Council Prime frowned. Containment. They were not conquered, the AI said. They were ignored. Trade routes were redirected. Records were quietly deprioritized. The elder's voice shook. We believed they would destroy themselves. A younger delegate leaned forward. And when they didn't? They vanished, the AI said. Long-range observation detected no expansion, no signals, no requests for contact. The image froze on a single line of text. Status, dormant. The human voice returned, calm as before. Dormant is not extinct, it said. Several delegates flinched. They had forgotten the channel was still open. The Council Prime steadied itself. You were classified as non-threatening, it said. Your records show no military capability matching this display. That is correct, the human voice replied. Those records are accurate. Confusion spread. Then explain this ship, demanded a military commander. A pause followed. No delay. Consideration. Our military capability began after we left, the human voice said. When we realized what you truly were. The elder closed its eyes. The AI continued its unsealing. New footage appeared. Council atrocities buried under centuries of rewritten history. Resource extraction that collapsed ecosystems. Proxy wars engineered to weaken independent powers before absorption. And hidden among those files, human observation reports. Silent probes. Deep space listening arrays. Unmanned stations placed just beyond mapped space. Humanity had not disappeared. I watched it. You studied us? The Council Prime asked. Yes, the voice said. For a long time. A delegate shouted. Why return now? The chamber fell silent again. Because today's vote matters, the voice replied. You are about to formalize control over the last unaligned regions. The elder spoke slowly, realization settling in. And you oppose this? No, the voice corrected. We are documenting it. A tremor passed through the chamber. The Council Prime straightened. You are in no position to judge us. One ship does not decide galactic order. For the first time, something changed. Not in the ship's posture. In its tone. One ship is sufficient for observation, the voice said. It is not sufficient for enforcement. Relief flickered across some faces. Then the human voice continued. That is why enforcement is not the purpose of this vessel. The tactical officer's console erupted with new warnings. Multiple sensor contacts. Far beyond the battleship. No warp signatures. No jump points. Just a sudden presence. The projection zoomed outward. Empty space filled with faint markers. 1 became 5. 5 became dozens. Dozens became hundreds. The chamber gasped as the scale resolved. Ships. Human ships. Far away. Not advancing. Not threatening. Waiting. The Council Prime's voice faltered. You said one. One ship has entered Council space. The human voice said calmly. The others have not. The distinction landed like a blade. A military commander whispered. They respected our borders, to show us they could ignore them. The AI pulsed again, almost urgently. Analysis indicates these vessels possess similar construction and energy profiles, it said. Their combined capability exceeds known Council forces by a factor beyond calculation. The Council Prime felt something crack. Not the chamber. Its certainty. You built all this in secret? It asked. Yes, the voice replied. Because secrecy was necessary. For what? Demanded another delegate. For patience, the human voice said. And for restraint. The elder rose fully now, leaning on its staff. You could have destroyed us, it said. Long ago. Yes, the voice agreed. The word echoed. Then why didn't you? The elder asked. The answer did not come immediately. When it did, it was quiet. Because the galaxy was not ready to hear the truth, the human voice said. And because if we acted too soon, we would become what you feared, not what we are. The dying star flared behind the battleship, casting red light through the chamber once more. The Council Prime looked around and realized something terrifying. For the first time in recorded history, the Council was not deciding the fate of others. It was being evaluated. The human voice spoke one final line before the channel dimmed. Proceed with your vote, it said. We are watching. The projection faded. The battleship remained. And across the chamber, one truth settled into every mind. Humanity had not returned for war. It had returned for judgment. The Council did not vote. They could not. The chamber that once decided the fate of stars now felt small, fragile, and exposed. Every delegate knew the truth, but none wanted to be the one to speak it first. The battleship above them had not threatened destruction. It had done something far worse. It had forced them to hesitate. Silence stretched until it became unbearable. A senior military delegate finally broke it. We cannot allow this, it said sharply. Observation or not. This is a violation of sovereignty. Several delegates nodded eagerly, grateful for something familiar. Anger. We have fleets within response range, another added. If we strike now, while they hesitate. They are not hesitating, the elder interrupted. All eyes turned upward. The elder's voice was calm, but heavy with dread. They are waiting for us to reveal ourselves. The Council Prime exhaled slowly. Military assessment, it ordered. If we engage the vessel above us, what happens? The tactical officer hesitated again. That hesitation was becoming a pattern. Our models are incomplete, the officer said. But conservative estimates suggest total loss of the assault force. A murmur of disbelief spread. Total loss. It is one ship. No vessel survives focused council fire. The officer swallowed. This one might. The Council Prime clenched its limbs. Pride flared. Pride always flared before disaster. Prepare a limited strike, it said. A warning. Enough to force withdrawal. The Elder stepped forward. That would be a mistake. But the order had already been given. Far above the chamber, Council warships moved into formation. Sleek, bright, powerful by any standard the galaxy had known for thousands of years. Targeting systems locked. Weapons charged. The human battleship did not move. No shields flared. No engines ignited. The first volley fired. Energy lanced through space, converging on the human hull. The beam struck and vanished. Not deflected. Not absorbed. Gone. As if the weapons had fired into empty space. Gasps filled the chamber. Fire again, the military delegate shouted. The second volley hit. This time, the battleship responded. Not with weapons. With gravity. Space around the ship bent sharply. Council warships lurched as if caught in a sudden tide. Engines screamed as navigation systems failed. Hulls groaned under forces they were never built to withstand. Ships spun, collided, lost formation. Still no explosions. Still no deaths. The human voice returned, calm and unhurried. This is not retaliation, it said. This is a correction. The battleship rotated slightly. A single structure along its hull unfolded, smooth, deliberate. A pulse rippled outward. Council warships froze in place. Not destroyed. Disabled. Power drained. Weapons offline. Engines silent. Hundreds of ships, immobilized in seconds. The chamber erupted. This is impossible. They shut down our entire fleet. They didn't even target us. The Elder stared upward, eyes wide. They could have killed them all, it whispered. They chose not to. The human voice continued. We are demonstrating capability, it said. Not intent. The Council Prime felt cold. You call this restraint? It demanded. Yes, the voice replied. A pause. Restraint is choosing not to end you when we can. The words landed like a physical blow. The tactical officer spoke again, voice trembling. Council Prime, secondary analysis confirms the human vessel never exceeded minimal power output. Minimal. The battleship had crippled an armada with minimal effort. The Council Prime understood then. The human ship was not a warship in the way the Council understood war. It was a statement. Why show us this? The Council Prime asked quietly. Because you mistake silence for weakness, the human voice replied. And patience for fear. The Elder stepped forward again. You could rule the galaxy, it said. Why not take it? Another pause. This one felt heavier. Because ruling requires oppression, the human voice said. And we have seen where that ends. The battleship's projection shifted. New images appeared, faint, distant. Human worlds. Not glittering empires. Not endless fleets. Small systems. Carefully balanced ecosystems. Ships built to last, not to dominate. We did not grow outward, the voice continued. We grew inward. We learned. We argued. We failed. We corrected it. The Council Prime felt something unfamiliar. Shame. You judged us, it said. Yes, the voice replied. By our own history. The images faded. Outside the chamber, Council warships slowly drifted, powerless but intact. Crews lived. Systems would recover. The human voice spoke again. We will restore your fleet, it said. Shortly, relief rippled through the chamber, followed immediately by dread. Because that mercy came with a price. Why? Asked a trembling delegate. Why let us recover? Because the next decision must be made freely, the voice said. Not under threat. The Council Prime understood now. This was not a battle. It was a test. And the Council was failing it. Sensors chimed again. Not human this time. Across the galaxy, systems began to stir. Council-controlled worlds transmitted unrest reports. Protests. Fleet commanders questioning orders. Allied species requesting clarification. Word was spreading. Not through propaganda. Through truth. The Elder turned to the Council Prime. The galaxy is watching us now, it said. Just as they are. The human voice delivered its final message of the session. You may continue as before, it said. You may deny what you have seen. You may attempt force again. A pause. We will not stop you. The Council Prime's limbs tightened. But understand this, the voice concluded. If you choose violence again, restraint will no longer be the lesson. The channel closed. The battleship remained. The council chamber sat in silence, surrounded by disabled fleets and a galaxy beginning to wake up. For the first time in their long rule, the council faced a truth they could not erase, rewrite, or conquer. Humanity has proven its power and chosen not to use it. Yet, the council did not speak for a long time after the channel closed. Outside the chamber, their fleets drifted in powerless silence, proud warships reduced to metal shells waiting for permission to breathe again. Inside, the rulers of the galaxy sat frozen, surrounded by a truth they could no longer outrun. The Elder broke the silence first. They are not here to fight us, it said slowly. They are here to reveal us. The Council Prime turned toward the Archivist AI. Status of the human fleets. The AI pulsed. Human vessels remain outside Council jurisdiction. They have not crossed any recognized boundary. No hostile posture detected. They're obeying our laws, a delegate muttered bitterly. Yes, the Elder said, so that when those laws collapse, we cannot blame them. As if summoned by the thought, alarms chimed across the chamber. Not military warnings, but data alerts. Incoming transmissions. Hundreds at once. From member worlds. From client states. From systems that had never dared speak out before. What is happening? The Council Prime demanded. The tactical officer scanned frantically. They're receiving something. A broadcast. Galaxy-wide. Every screen in the chamber flickered. Then the image changed. It was not a human battleship. It was the Council itself. Footage played. Unaltered. Time-stamped. Verified. Council chambers from centuries ago. Closed sessions. Votes taken in secret. Decisions spoken aloud when they believed no one else could hear. A voice echoed through the chamber. Younger. Arrogant. Cut off their trade lanes. They'll fold within a generation. Another voice followed. Let the famine run its course. Survivors will accept integration. Gasps spread. No, someone whispered. Those sessions were sealed. The images continued. World stripped bare. Species relocated for stability. Wars engineered, then ended at convenient moments to preserve control. Each clip ended with a simple marker. Source, Terran Deep Archive. The Elder slumped into its seat. They recorded everything. The human voice returned, but this time it did not speak only to the Council. It spoke to the galaxy. For thousands of cycles, it said, calm and steady. You were told that the Council preserved peace, that it prevented chaos, that without it, the galaxy would burn. Images shifted, Council fleets withdrawing just before worlds collapsed. Aid promised, then delayed. Peacekeeping operations that left only compliant survivors. You were told these sacrifices were necessary. The voice continued. That order demanded obedience. The broadcast widened, translated itself, adapted to every species, every culture. We believed the same once, the human voice said, until we learned the cost. The Council Prime stood abruptly. Cut the transmission. We can't, the tactical officer replied. It's not being sent from one point. It's already everywhere. The truth was no longer traveling. It had arrived. Across the galaxy, reactions exploded. On distant worlds, citizens stopped work and stared at public displays. Elders wept as names long erased reappeared. Soldiers lowered weapons as they recognized orders they had followed without question. Entire species realized, all at once, that their suffering had not been accidental. It had been managed. Back in the chamber, the Council Prime's voice shook. You are destabilizing the galaxy. No, the human voice replied gently. We are removing the blindfold. The Elder looked up at the battleship's looming shadow. You waited, it said. You waited until no one could deny this. Yes, the voice said. Because power exposed too early is labeled aggression. Power revealed at the right moment becomes evidence. A delegate screamed in rage. You will tear everything apart. The human voice did not argue. Everything already was, it said. You simply stood on the pieces. Another image appeared. Humanity's own history. Wars. Mistakes. Near-extinction events. Internal collapse. We are not innocent, the voice said. We are not pure. We failed ourselves many times. The footage showed humans rebuilding, arguing, choosing limits, rejecting easy domination even when they could have taken it. That is why we left, the voice continued. We did not trust ourselves to wield power in a system built on control. The elder felt the weight of that truth settle into its bones. You judged us, it said quietly. Yes, the voice replied. And we judged ourselves first. Outside the chamber, council fleets began to regain minimal power. Not enough to fight. Enough to listen. Across the galaxy, council-aligned militaries hesitated. Orders went unanswered. Commanders delayed action, citing uncertainty. The Council Prime saw the writing on the wall. You are engineering rebellion, it said. No, the human voice answered. We are allowed a choice. The broadcast shifted again. A final archive opened. One the Council Prime recognized instantly. The sealed contingency. A protocol designed to erase entire regions if control was lost. A last resort. A galaxy-sized threat. Gasps turned to horror. You would have destroyed them, the human voice said softly. To preserve your authority. The Council Prime shouted. Those were hypothetical. Everything is hypothetical, the voice replied, until it is authorized. The elder bowed its head. It's over, it whispered. The Council Prime looked around the chamber. Delegates avoided its gaze. The certainty that once filled the room was gone, replaced by something far more dangerous. Awareness. The human voice delivered its final words of the broadcast. We are not here to rule you, it said. We are not here to replace the council. A pause. We are here to ensure it can never hide again. The transmission ended. Silence followed, not just in the chamber, but across the stars. The Council Prime felt something collapse inside itself. Not power. Legitimacy. Outside, the human battleship remained motionless. Inside, the Council understood the truth. They had lost the galaxy without a single world being conquered, and humanity had done it without firing a shot. The elder rose slowly, leaning on its staff. What happens now? It asked. The human voice answered, quieter than before. Now, it said, you decide who you truly are, without lies to protect you. The channel closed. The star beneath the station pulsed weakly, still dying, still burning. And the galaxy, at last, began to see clearly. The galaxy did not erupt into chaos. That was the Council's greatest miscalculation. They had ruled for so long by fear that they believed fear was the only force holding everything together. They expected riots, wars, system-wide collapse. They expected the stars to burn the moment their authority cracked. Instead, something quieter happened. People listened. Across thousands of worlds, citizens replayed the human broadcast again and again. Not because it was loud, but because it explained things they had felt their entire lives, but never understood. Why it always came too late. Why rebellions always fail at the same moment. Why history felt edited. The truth did not inspire rage at first. It inspired grief. Back in the council chamber, the silence was suffocating. Delegates received private updates from their home systems. No demands. Questions. Why did this happen? Did you know? What did you vote for? The Council Prime sat motionless, staring at the dying star below. Its light flickered through fractures in the chamber's shields. The Elder stood alone at the center ring. They are not attacking us, the Elder said slowly. They are letting us drown in what we did. The Archivist AI pulsed again, hesitantly. Council Prime, additional human data packets have been released. The Council Prime did not turn. More accusations? No, the AI replied. Personal records. The chamber lights dimmed once more. New images appeared. Human colonies. Small. Remote. Scarred. Footage showed children growing up under artificial skies. Elder humans speaking of a place called Earth like a myth, not a home. Ships patched and rebuilt instead of replaced. Generations born knowing they could expand, but choosing not to. The human voice returned, but it sounded different now. Lower. Heavier. You have seen what we can do, it said. Now you will see what it cost. The images changed. Human debates. Councils of their own. Arguments lasting years. Entire populations voting to limit themselves, to not spread, not dominate, not interfere. A human leader spoke in one clip, exhaustion carved into their face. If we expand now, we become them. Another replied, bitter and afraid. If we don't, they will erase others. The debate ended with silence. The decision had not been easy. The human voice continued. We lost worlds, it said. Not to war. To choose. Images showed abandoned colonies, fully built, fully supplied, intentionally shut down. Fleets dismantled instead of deployed. Weapons mothballed. Humanity had bled potential. On purpose. The elder gripped its staff tighter. You crippled yourselves, it said. Yes, the voice replied. To learn restraint before we had to enforce it. A delegate cried out. You could have saved billions sooner. The human voice did not deny it. Yes, it said again. The word echoed, just as it had before. We carry those deaths, the voice continued. Every day, every generation. The chamber watched footage of human memorials, vast walls of names, not just human, but alien. Species humanity had observed being slowly crushed by council policy, unable to intervene without revealing themselves too early. We do not claim moral purity, the voice said. We claim responsibility. The Council Prime finally turned. You waited until it benefited you, it accused weakly. No, the human voice replied. We waited until intervention would not replace one tyrant with another. The elder looked at the surrounding delegates. Do you understand what they are saying? It asked quietly. They did not come to punish us. No one answered. They came because they are tired of carrying this alone. The images shifted again. Human ships, older, rougher, defending refugee convoys in deep space. Quiet rescues. Silent evacuations from council proxy wars. Entire species relocated without ever knowing who saved them. Some of you survived because of us, the voice said. You simply never knew it. A tremor moved through the chamber. The archivist AI spoke, voice unsteady for the first time in its existence. Cross-referencing independent survival anomalies, correlation confirmed. The elder's breath caught. How many? It asked. The AI hesitated. Billions, it said. The Council Prime sank back into its seat. Outside the chamber, Council fleets slowly regained full function. Not because they had hacked systems or forced compliance, but because the human battleship allowed it. The message was clear. You are not prisoners. You are witnesses. The human voice softened further. We did not return to be thanked, it said. We returned because silence was no longer protection. It was complicity. The elder stepped forward, lowering its head. What do you want from us? It asked. This time, the pause was long. When the answer came, it was simple. Nothing, the human voice said. Confusion rippled through the chamber. No territory, the voice continued. No tribute. No seat on your council. The Council Prime whispered. Then why stay? The battleship's projection shifted, showing the council chamber itself from above. Small. Fragile. Because something is coming, the human voice said. Something older than your council. Something that thrives on systems like yours. The chamber stiffened. A threat? Demanded a military delegate. Yes, the voice replied. But that is not today's lesson. The elder frowned. Then what is? The human voice answered. Today, it said, you learn what it feels like to be seen. The transmission dimmed again. The battleship remained, unmoving, its presence no longer just intimidating, but accusatory. Across the galaxy, the reactions deepened. Some worlds formally withdrew from council authority. Others demanded trials. A few clung desperately to the old order, issuing threats that no longer carried weight. The Council Prime realized the truth too late. Humanity had not broken the council. It had removed the lie that held it together. The elder turned toward the Prime. There is no vote that fixes this, it said. The Council Prime stared at its hands. No, it whispered. There isn't. Above them, the dying star flared one last time, casting red light across a chamber that would never command the galaxy again. And far beyond council space, human fleets waited, not to conquer, not to rule, but to see what the galaxy would choose next. The Council Prime had always believed that power meant options. Now it understood the cruel truth. Power meant responsibility, and responsibility meant choice. The chamber was no longer loud. No arguments echoed. No threats were exchanged. The council members sat in a circle of quiet dread, each receiving the same reports from across the galaxy. Member worlds suspending tribute. Council fleets refusing deployment orders. Independent systems requesting protection from the council. The irony was unbearable. The elder broke the silence again, voice steady but tired. They have not replaced us, it said. They have made us irrelevant. The Council Prime looked up sharply. Not yet. It gestured toward a sealed console at the base of the dais. Ancient. Untouched for centuries. Several delegates recoiled. No, one whispered. That protocol was never meant to be used. Only if control is lost, another said. And control is lost, the Council Prime replied. The Archivist AI pulsed violently. Council Prime, authorization of that system violates all interstellar accords. Accords only matter if there is still a council to enforce them, the Prime snapped. The Elder stepped forward, slamming its staff against the floor. If you do this, you confirm everything they revealed. The Council Prime's gaze hardened. If we do nothing, we fade into history. The console activated. A holographic construct rose, cold, mathematical, terrifying. Protocol, Starfall. A networked failsafe embedded in Council-era infrastructure. Not a weapon aimed at enemies, but at dependency. Trade nodes. Energy relays. Jump corridors. If activated, it would collapse galactic logistics in a controlled cascade. Worlds would survive, but only if they begged for reinstatement. Order through starvation. Silence through desperation. The Elder's voice trembled. You would burn the galaxy to save your pride. The Council Prime said nothing. Above them, the human battleship did not move. But the human fleets did. Not forward. Sideways. They repositioned, not threatening, not aggressive, but deliberate. Blocking nothing. Allowing nothing. The human voice returned, quieter than before. You are considering Starfall. The Council Prime stiffened. You should not know that. We know, the voice replied. Because we were afraid you would. The battleship's projection shifted. A web of light spread across the chamber, an overlay of the galaxy's infrastructure. Human annotations appeared. Redundancies. Weak points. Safeguards. You built Starfall to ensure no one could ever leave you. The human voice said. We built alternatives in case you ever used it. The Elder's eyes widened. You prepared for this? Yes, the voice replied. Because systems like yours always end the same way. The Council Prime snarled. You claim restraint, yet you undermine us at every turn. No, the voice corrected. We remove your ability to harm without replacing it with our own. The overlay shifted. Human-built trade routes lit up, hidden corridors, decentralized hubs, energy systems designed without a single point of failure. They don't depend on us anymore, the Elder whispered. No, the voice agreed. They depend on each other. The Council Prime's hands shook. You planned this for centuries, it said. Yes, the voice replied. Because planning is the only alternative to conquest. The console chimed. Starfall authorization window closing. A countdown began. The chamber erupted at last. We can't let them do this. We still have fleets. They've already won. The Elder moved to the center again, voice rising for the first time. Listen to yourselves. This is the moment history remembers. The Council Prime stared at the countdown. 5 minutes. If we let this go, it said quietly, we become a footnote. The human voice answered, not unkindly. You already are. The words did not mock. They ended something. The Council Prime's gaze snapped upward. You think you're better than us? No, the voice replied. We think we are late. The Elder turned slowly toward the Prime. They learned, it said. We never did. 2 minutes. The Archivist AI spoke again, voice strained. Council Prime, internal dissent rising. Security systems refusing enforcement commands. The Prime laughed once, bitter and hollow. They won without fighting. 1 minute. Outside the chamber, the dying star pulsed violently, its collapse accelerating, its radiation pushing against the station's shields. The Council Prime looked at it, then at the battleship, then at the Elder. What would you have me do? It asked. The Elder's voice softened. Let go. 30 seconds. The Council Prime hesitated, then slowly removed its limb from the console. The countdown froze. Starfall remained unactivated. A sound filled the chamber. Not applause, not relief. Breathing. The human voice spoke again. You chose not to burn the galaxy, it said. That matters. The Council Prime slumped into its seat. It doesn't save us, it said. No, the voice agreed. It saves them. The projection shifted one final time. Human fleets began to withdraw, not all at once, not dramatically, system by system, leaving infrastructure behind, leaving routes open, leaving worlds free. The Elder watched in silence. They're leaving, it said. Yes, the voice replied. Because the next part cannot involve us. The Council Prime looked up, disbelief mixing with despair. You're just going to walk away? We already did once, the voice said. This time, we leave you something better than silence. The channel dimmed. The battleship began to move, not toward the council, but away from it. As it did, the dying star stabilized. Human intervention, precise and invisible, slowed its collapse just enough to spare the station. A final mercy. The council chamber sat in stunned silence. The elder turned to the prime. There will be trials, it said. Reckonings. 1,000 voices demanding answers. The prime nodded weakly. Yes. For the first time, the elder continued. They will be right. Far beyond the chamber, the last human ships vanished into deep space. They did not take control. They did not leave a throne. They left a choice. And for the first time in galactic history, the future would not be decided by a council above a dying star, but by the countless worlds that had finally been allowed to speak. The galaxy did not celebrate. Freedom, it turned out, was heavier than chains. Across newly independent systems, governments struggled to stand without the scaffolding of council control. Trade rerouted awkwardly. Old rivalries resurfaced. Some worlds thrived immediately. Others faltered, unsure how to breathe without permission. And in the shadows of that uncertainty, something old began to move. The first warning came from a place no one watched anymore. A dead relay at the edge of former council space reactivated for exactly 3 seconds, long enough to send a burst of data so dense it tore through listening arrays before vanishing. Human sensors caught it instantly. So did the council's most secret systems. In the council chamber, alarms returned. Not loud this time, but deep and resonant, like a warning meant only for those who understood. The elder froze mid-step. That signal, it said slowly. That frequency. The council prime lifted its head, eyes wide with recognition. No, it whispered. That system was never meant to be touched. The archivist AI pulsed erratically. Cross-referencing, confirmation achieved. A name appeared in the chamber's center, one that had been erased from all public records. The Continuum Engine. Silence followed. A military delegate found its voice. That is a myth. A deterrent story. It was real, the council prime said hollowly. And it was never dismantled. The elder turned sharply. You told us Starfall was the last failsafe. The prime did not meet its gaze. Starfall was for control, it said. The Continuum Engine was for survival. The human battleship had not left yet. It had only moved to a distant holding position, far enough to show respect, close enough to listen. The human voice returned, immediately this time. You reactivated a forbidden system, it said. Not accusing. Confirming. The council prime stood. Yes, it said. And you should be afraid. The projection shifted. Ancient schematics unfolded, structures older than the council itself. A lattice buried deep within subspace, anchored to multiple stars. A weapon that did not destroy worlds. It rewrote them. The Continuum Engine stabilizes reality, the council prime said. It enforces uniformity. No rebellions. No divergence. No chaos. The elder's voice shook. You would overwrite free will. We already did, the prime snapped. We just did it slowly. The human voice was quiet now. This system predates your rule, it said. You did not build it. No, the prime agreed. We inherited it, and we learned why it must never be activated lightly. The archivist AI spoke again, voice strained. Engine alignment requires a trigger event. A galactic scale instability. The elder understood immediately. You intend to create one. The prime nodded. If the galaxy fractures, it said, the engine will lock it back into order. At the cost of everything that made it alive. Human fleets stirred, not advancing, not retreating. Preparing. This is your final mistake, the human voice said. No, the prime replied. This is your blind spot. You believe exposure ends tyranny. It doesn't. The prime raised a limb. You showed them the truth, it continued. But you did not stay to guide them. Now fear returns. And fear demands certainty. The elder stepped forward, voice breaking. You will erase them. Billions. To save trillions, the prime answered. The human voice did not argue. It asked one question. Do you know who built the Continuum Engine? The council prime hesitated. No, it admitted. An ancient civilization. Long gone. Yes, the human voice said. They are gone. The projection shifted again. Human records appeared, older than the council's oldest archive. A civilization that had once imposed perfect order. No war. No dissent. No growth. A galaxy frozen. They activated the engine, the the human voice said. And when nothing could change, nothing could survive. The images showed decay without collapse. Civilizations locked into static loops, unable to adapt, unable to respond to new threats. They died not from chaos, the voice continued, but of certainty. The Council Prime clenched its limbs. You are lying. No, the human voice replied. We are warning you. The Continuum engine's status chimed. Alignment, 62%. Outside the chamber, stars across multiple sectors flickered, subtle, wrong. Reality tightened. The elder fell to one knee. It's already starting, it whispered. Human fleets moved at last. Not toward the council, toward the lattice points. Precision strikes began, not explosive, not violent, but surgical. Nodes went dark. Anchors destabilized. The Council Prime screamed. You will tear reality apart. No, the human voice said. We will loosen it. The engine fought back. Subspace buckled. Communication lagged. Time itself stretched thin in localized pockets. Human ships adapted instantly, reconfiguring, rerouting, compensating as if they had practiced this exact scenario. Because they had. You planned for this too, the elder realized. Yes, the human voice replied. Because we feared what you would do when faced with irrelevance. The alignment dropped. 58%. 55%. The Council Prime slammed its limb against the console. You don't understand, it shouted. Without enforced order, something worse will come. The human voice paused, then answered carefully. We know. The projection shifted one final time. A deep space scan appeared, ancient, massive, and moving slowly toward the galaxy's edge. An intelligence older than the Council, older than humanity. Watching, waiting. This is why we needed choice, the human voice said. Because what comes next cannot be met by obedience. Only by cooperation. The elder stared at the image, horror dawning. And the engine, it asked. Would make us blind, the voice replied. The alignment plunged. 12%. 8%. The Council Prime collapsed to its knees. You're letting the galaxy face it unprepared. No, the human voice said. We're letting it prepare together. Alignment. 0% continuum engine, disabled. The lattice went dark. Reality relaxed. The stars steadied. The council chamber sat in ruins of belief, not stone. The elder looked at the Prime. It's over, it said softly. The Prime did not respond. Outside, the human battleship turned, finally leaving council space for real. But before it vanished, the human voice spoke one last time. We stopped your last weapon, it said. Not because you deserved saving. A pause. But because the galaxy does. The channel closed. The Council Prime stared at the darkness where the ship had been. For the first time, fear was not a tool. It was honest. And far beyond the stars they had once ruled, something ancient shifted, aware now that the galaxy was no longer asleep. The human ships were gone. Not dramatically. Not all at once. They faded from sensors in small groups, slipping back into deep space until only absence remained. No victory parade. No declaration of rule. No claim of ownership over what they had saved. The galaxy was left alone with itself. For a long moment, no one moved. The council chamber still floated above the dying star, but it no longer felt like the center of anything. Delegates sat in silence, staring at empty air where power had once lived. The Council Prime remained on its knees, hands resting uselessly on the floor. The elder stood slowly. It's finished, it said. Not with fire, not with conquest, but with truth. No one argued. Across the galaxy, the aftermath unfolded unevenly. Some worlds celebrated openly. Statues of council leaders were torn down. Old flags burned. New assemblies formed overnight, messy and loud and imperfect. Other systems fell into fear, unsure how to govern without orders from above. Trade disputes flared. Borders were questioned. Old wounds reopened. And yet, no great war followed. Something had changed too deeply. Humanity had not replaced the council with itself. It had removed the illusion that anyone needed to sit above everyone else. The galaxy no longer waited for permission. On worlds once crushed by silence, survivors spoke at last. Testimonies spread faster than any fleet ever had. Names long erased returned to history. Crimes were argued, disputed, and examined in public light instead of sealed chambers. It was painful, necessary. The council dissolved itself within the cycle, not with a vote, but with a confession. The Council Prime appeared in a final broadcast, stripped of regalia, voice unsteady but clear. We ruled by fear, it said. We justified cruelty as an order. We believed ourselves essential. It paused. We were wrong. That admission rippled across the stars more powerfully than any weapon. Trials followed, not quick, not clean. Some council members faced judgment. Others fled into obscurity. A few ended their own lives rather than answer for centuries of decisions. The Elder testified. So did the Archivist AI. So did entire worlds. And always, in the background of every discussion, one truth remained unspoken but understood. Humanity had been strong enough to rule, and had chosen not to. Years passed. The galaxy adapted. New alliances formed, not around power blocks, but around shared needs. Trade networks became decentralized, resilient, human-designed, but not human-controlled. Worlds learned to depend on each other instead of a distant throne. It was slower. Messier, alive. The ancient presence humanity had revealed did not attack immediately. I watched, probed, tested borders. It learned, just as humanity once had. And this time, the galaxy responded together. Not with a single command, but with cooperation. Humanity did not lead the defense. It was advised when asked, supplied when needed, fought only when invited, and always alongside, never above. They paid the price too. Human ships were lost. Human worlds suffered strikes. Human names were added to memorials already crowded with the dead of other species. They did not complain. They had chosen this. One final record would later become legend. A lone council observer, stationed at the edge of known space, encountered a human vessel decades after the fall. Smaller than the great battleship. Scarred. Clearly old. The observer hailed it. Why did you leave? The observer asked. You could have stayed. Guided us. Ruled better than the council ever did. The human captain answered simply. Because if we stayed, you would eventually wait for us to decide again. A pause. And because someone must stand outside to remind them what it looks like. The ship departed without ceremony. Historians would argue for centuries about humanity's true motive. Some claimed guilt drove them. Others said fear. A few believed it was strategy, long patience masking long ambition. But among ordinary beings, among traders and soldiers and children who grew up free of a single ruling voice, a simpler story endured. Humanity has been underestimated, not because it was weak, but because its greatest strength was restraint. In the ruins of the old council chamber, now converted into a memorial, one final inscription was etched into the metal overlooking the stabilized star. It read, "They did not come to rule. They came to make ruling impossible." And far beyond the edge of the galaxy, humanity watched, not as masters, not as gods, but as witnesses, ready to act again only if the galaxy forgot the lesson they had paid so much to teach.